Right. So when we cover the topic of the family, we're going to be going over together what are the types of family, what are the functions of the family, what are some different types of unions that we recognize. And the last thing is the topic of family law in the Caribbean, right? Just a kind of general overview of it, right? How it pertains to things like relationships, property, what union is recognized, inheritance, and so on. All right. So if you like, you could go ahead and note the family. First thing, the first thing we're doing is types, right? All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so you can see on the screen a little cartoon, right? And you can make out, so it's a classroom setting. Dirk brings his family tree to class. Have you all ever drawn a family tree? Maybe in primary school, you had to draw a family tree, or maybe even Form 1 or Form 2. Right, good, good. So we need to be familiar with what a family tree is and how to interpret it, right? But when we're done with types of family, we'll probably look at that. So let's look at what we can see on the screen here. The Jorgensons, Hilda and Ned. So oh, that's them on top here, right? These two. And then Grandpa and Bob. And then the Olsons, Betty and Irv, and somebody we don't know who, Grandma Ross. And then Grandpa and Grandma had Uncle Andy and Dad and Mom. And then Dad and Mom, well, no, sorry. They had Dad, and then Dad got married to Mom. Important clarification. And Dad and Mom together had me and my sister, right? So this is a prehistoric family tree. This is a Far Side cartoon here. What type of family structures are we seeing on the family tree? What type of family is the dad and the mom and the Dirk and his sister? What type of family are they? Two parents and children alone? Nuclear. Good. Right. All right. So types of families is our topic. First, would you, if you didn't notice as yet, please note it now. And what are some other types of families you know besides nuclear? What are some other types of family? Extended, good. Sibling family, good. Single parent families, yes. And there's one more I'm listening for. The other one I'm listening for is joint household. Right? All right, so let's look at them together. So here we have an image that shows us what kind of family again. The Holsteins visit the Grand Canyon. This is a what kind of family? Nuclear family, right? Again, parents and children. Nuclear family is our first one. So parents and children only make up the family, right? And when we say the family, we're talking about people who share the household. And when we say share the household, we mean maybe they live in the same place, they share the responsibilities of the family, the work, the bringing in of money to pay bills, right? Now they could have relatives in other places that they are close to, that they visit every day, but if they don't live in the same house and if they're not making the contributions to the workload of the family, then the family is just nuclear, right? So this is the first definition that we're taking down. Everybody is aware that there is a new syllabus for exams from May, June 2025. Everybody's aware of that. Anybody hearing this the first time? All right, so it's slightly different. I'll ask Sir to post a link to it on the website, right? All right, everybody has this definition down. You're always welcome to shorten the note once you don't change the content, right? All right, so I'm gonna count to 10 and change. I think, do I have one more thing here? Yes, I have one more thing here. All right. Nuclear families are often have a another sort of relationship related to them, which is monogamy, right? The practice of monogamy. So a related term, an important term, the practice of marrying one person at a time or being in a physical relationship with one person at a time, right? So I also want you to know the definition for monogamy and be able to say it back just like that, right? That's 2 marks on your paper 2 or 1 mark on your multiple choice. Right, so a monogamous relationship is one in which the partners are seeing only each other, right? A person has one partner at a time. All right, ready to move on to the next slide? Everybody has these definitions noted. Right, if you didn't, for some reason, write them down, then please take a screenshot, or I could come back to them for you during the break, or you could come back to the recording, right? All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so we have another little cartoon here. Mom, Bobby Joe's playing in the turkey. Right, so you see a bunch of adults at the table and a bunch of children at the kiddie table, right? Perhaps they all share a household. So here's a thought, an extended family, right? So an extended family includes grandparents and other relatives. So for it to be an extended family, it must have members of different generations. So the grandparents are like the older generation, and the parents are the younger generation. The children are the youngest generation of the three, right? So I'm just writing here as a clarification, relatives from different generations, right? And this is a clarification because you could have a joint household and then the relatives are of the same generation, right? And there are grandparents here, but you could have aunties and uncles and as well, and you could have great grandparents, great grandchildren, right? And household, they share a household, that means they share the home. For a family to be a family, they share a living space and they share the work of the family, the workload of the family, right? Do I have extended terms on this side? Yes. Related terms, yes. Kinship and fictive kin. All right. So, and you could shorten these. So kinship, related by blood or adoption or marriage, right? If someone is related to you by blood, then they are your kin. Right? If a family has adopted someone, a family that you're a part of has adopted someone, they are your kin. And if people get married, they become, if you are related to one of the people who got married, they become your kin, right? So this is kinship relationships. So kin is another word for family. All right. So in the extended family, the people who live there are your kin. Kin remains as kin in plural form, we don't say kins. As well as in the nuclear family, also kin, or in any kind of family, people in the family are kin to each other, right? Now, in the Caribbean especially, but other places too, we have a tendency, what do you call your neighbor? To the student, the younger people in the class, the students who are still in school. When you are talking to your neighbor, what you call them? Or your parents' friends who come to visit, what you call them? You call them by their first name? We call them auntie. Right. Or people on the road, sometimes they call them auntie, moms, uncle, right. Right. So these people who are not related to us by blood or by adoption or by marriage, right? We call them fictive kin. So actually ignore my example of people on the road. They are not our fictive kin. The people who come into our home because they are our parents' friends, or because they are our neighbors, or they are parents of our friends, right? And we call them auntie and uncle, fictive kin, right? So an individual, and again, you could shorten this, right? And you could just say not related by blood or adoption or marriage, but they have an important emotional relationship with the family. Yes, godparents is another example. And the family sees them as a relative. Right? So you could go by your auntie's house and they could watch you after school, or they could come in the house and help make food, or they are helping to fulfill the roles, the responsibilities, jobs of the family. Right. Okay, so next one. Joint sibling household. So I want you to be aware of it, right? But this is not on the syllabus anymore, but let's just be aware of it anyway. So I'll just make a note. Not on new syllabus, right? So if you look at the picture, you could make out like adults, 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 right? So perhaps this is a brother, perhaps this is a sister and husband, right? Perhaps this is a brother and wife, right? So perhaps three of these people are siblings, perhaps, right? Let's just imagine this is how it breaks down. And they share a home. They share this giant home in the background, right? And they share food and they share responsibilities to take care of the bills and so on. Then that is a joint sibling household, right? So a family in which adult siblings and their spouses and children share the home. So you'll note that in this case, different from extended family, there are no grandparents, right? It's just really the adult siblings who are the same generation. And why would this happen? Um, Perhaps because the house was left to the whole family, or perhaps because somebody fell on hard times and they wanted to move back home, perhaps different reasons, right? To take care of each other, whatever. All right, some other related terms, sibling. So children, who is your sibling? It's a child who shares your parents. You have one or more parents in common, right? So children who have one or more parents in common, right? And the parents could be biological or they could be adopted, right? Or they could be like in a sibling household where older siblings take care of younger siblings, right? Um Maybe let's put this word in brackets, this sibling in brackets. And actually, sorry, not put it in brackets. Let's take out this word. And so we'll just have joint family and put household. So I'm so sorry about that. I'm thinking I want to do that because in the past, people have gotten confused when we talk about sibling household and joint household, right? So this one is not on the syllabus, just a reminder. So if it's confusing, you don't have to worry with it too much, right? Sibling though is on the syllabus. So you need to know who a sibling is. So you're the person that one shares a parent or parents with, brother or sister. So by this relation, a stepbrother, by this definition, sorry, stepbrother or stepsister is also a sibling, right? Because you just need to share one parent to be a sibling. Sorry. Just go back here, right? Okay, let's clear this away. Okay, what family type do we have here? Actually, I'm wondering myself. I can't remember what this is supposed to be. Let's see. Okay, a blended family, right? All right, now this is also a popular term. Not on the syllabus, right? But so how does a blended family arise? Well, perhaps someone who was previously married to one person is no longer married to that person, and now they married someone else and they bring their children to the family, but everybody has a role because everybody is taking care of the children, right? So also this is not on the syllabus, right? That doesn't mean we shouldn't know what it is, but so I'll just write that here. All right. So a family consisting of a couple, their children together, and the children from previous relationships, right? Related terms, the related terms you do need to know. Sibling household, well, we just so this is the other family type that we didn't address yet. Right? So this one is important. So siblings living by themselves, often with the older ones caring for the younger ones, right? So there are no parents other than the siblings. The siblings will act like a parent, right? What else about them? Why does this situation arise? Why could this situation arise where it ends up being older brother and sister, older brother or sister taking care of younger brothers or sisters? Yeah, the parents could have died, right? So causes, I'm gonna write these up here. Death of parents, right? Parent may not have been a good one, so there may have been abuse of the children or drug abuse, or so I'm gonna put parent is unfit, unsuitable, right? Parent could be in jail, yeah. I could fall in the parent's unfit. Right. And the other reason, thanks Shahim, is migration, right? Perhaps less so now, but a parent could migrate to another country to try to create a life for their family over there, and they leave the smaller children in the care of the younger children, right? So sibling household. So blended family, optional part of the note, sibling household, necessary part of the note, right? As well as the additional pieces added in there. Right. We have one more family type to talk about. Which one is that? You can sort of see it in the picture here. So the saber-toothed tiger telling the two little saber-toothed cubs. And now for today's lesson, you've probably been wondering what these are for, meaning the saber teeth, right? And here's an unsuspecting human walking behind, aka a meal, right? So what's the other family type we have? How many parents we see in this picture? Single parent, good. Right. So single parent family could be a mom or could be a dad, right? So a family is one parent, one caregiver. So even if the caregiver is not a parent, like it could be a grandparent, then the family would still be a single parent family, as well as, well, no. If it's just the grandparent and the child is a single parent family, right? And one or more dependent children, right? There's no other spouse, there's no other adult partner who shares the parenting responsibility. It's just, if it's just the one parent, the single parent home, right? Related to status, we talk about status in society, which is one's position in society, right? So that could have to do with wealth, class level. So how much money you have, how much education you have, the type of job you have, right? All right. Right. Okay, so let's clear this away. What's next on all this here? All right, so we have a little situation. Nothing to write here, right? The next couple slides are ready for discussion. Miss Amelia is a social worker whose job it is to find suitable homes for children. What type of family should she try to put little Johnny in, and why? So let's remind ourselves of the types, right? So at the top here, we have extended. Here we have nuclear. Right? And here we have single parent. But for the sake of argument, we'll pretend that the next one is sibling. So that way we have all the types that are on the syllabus covered. Which one is best and why? So should Johnny be placed with a family that has grandparents and mommy and daddy living in the house? Should mommy be placed, not sorry, mommy, should Johnny be placed in a house with a mommy and a daddy? Should Johnny be placed in a house with just a mommy? Should Johnny be placed in a house with where his older brother, pretend this is a boy, could take care of him? All right, so I'm getting two answers. I'm getting nuclear and I'm getting extended. Why? Tell me why nuclear and tell me why extended. All right, nuclear family, because you'd be able to have both parents be able to experience love and how family should be. All right. Extended family, why? Nuclear family, because you could have a sibling. Maybe, I guess in this picture, there's a baby. All right, an extended family, more persons to love him and look after him. But what if in his single parent family, that parent has a really good job and is able to take him to and from school and look after him? Would that work? And what if in the sibling household, the brother has a really good job and really would love him and take care of him because it's his sibling? Would it be okay then? Time to spend with the child is important. All right. He would have more. Okay, well, all right. So y'all are picking up on the right things, right? But okay, let me ask you a question. In nuclear families, in all nuclear families, are children taken care of? Do parents love their children and meet all their emotional needs and provide for them? And in all extended families, are children taken care of? Do they get attention? Do they get role models? Do they get hot meals? In all of them? Right, so the no's are coming in. Okay, so do you all see where we're going with this, right? The family type by itself Now, our traditional beliefs are probably that a strong family is a nuclear family, or a strong family is an extended family, right? That is what we believe traditionally. All of us in the back of our heads, we have that, right? But what the syllabus wants us to see, what CSEC wants us to see, and probably we could think about it, is that all family types are capable. Now that this doesn't mean that they will, but all family types are capable of providing a child with love and care. Right? So each family option, so the social worker would have to evaluate each of these groupings, right? So she would have to go to the extended family, talk to everybody, see, talk to the nuclear family, talk to the older sibling, talk to the single parent mom, and then figure out who would provide a child with the most love and care, right? So I want you all to remember that. So let's go to the next slide. There's the social worker again. What does she have to say? Oh, right. So is one type of family better than another? No. Once a child is loved and provided for, then the family is a great one, a functional one, it's doing what it's supposed to. So I would like you all to note this, right? At the bottom of your types of families, right? No one family type is automatically better than the other, right? Any family where a child is loved and cared for is a good family, right? And safe as well, right? And that could happen in any of the types we looked at. Right? So that doesn't mean that like the child will never have to wait in school until maybe 4 o'clock to be picked up, or the child will never have to stay with a babysitter at some point while the parent is working. Those things might happen, but those things might not be detrimental to the child's well-being, right? All right, so I need you all to know this, right? There's no, in the eyes of the syllabus, in the eyes of CSEC, and if we think about it, probably in our eyes too, all the family structures are equally valid. It's about what the child is provided with, right? So I would like you to note this thing that is written down here on the screen. You could shorten it, of course. So let's just try and get through unions, and then we could take a break, right? Oh, actually, my bad. It's the functions of a family. Let's skip to types of union because that will be shorter. We'll come back to functions of a family after break. Right. Types of unions. So first of all, what is a union? A union is a relationship between two adults. Right? So we need that definition. First of all, right? Okay, everybody have it? We can go to the next slide here. All right. First type of union, visiting union or visiting relationship. So in a visiting union, a couple is not married, right? They do not share a residence, so they don't live in the same home. Right? So one partner will visit and then leave. Perhaps the visit might just be a day, or perhaps it might be weeks or whatever, but they don't stay there long term, right? Now they may help out with the bills, they may not help out with the bills regularly. So we couldn't really have like a nuclear family or an extended family from this option. The most we might have is a single parent family. Or I guess a sibling household. The adults could be in a visiting union too. Okay. Okay, everybody has this one? All right, let's look at the next type of union. So this is a common law union or a consensual union, it could also be called, right? And again, the couple is not married. They haven't gone through that legal procedure, right? But they share a residence. They live together, right? So if they share a residence, they probably also share bills, they share childcare. So they could be a nuclear family, they could be in an extended family, they could be but it's unlikely they wouldn't be single parent. It could be a sibling household if the adult sibling is involved in the relationship, right? Now, in different countries, depending on the length of time the relationship has gone on for, legally, the partners will still have the same rights or similar rights in the eyes of the law if they split apart. All right, ready for the next one? Okay, next one. Marriage, right? So marriage, it could be a cultural marriage, right? You could have a religious ceremony, and in that case, it's a cultural marriage. Or it could be legal, right? In the eyes of the law, according to the laws of the land, wherever it is, the marriage is performed, right? And a record is made of it, becomes part of public record. Or it could be both. It could be either or people can do both. They can get married legally and a kind of a cultural ceremony, right? According to their religious practice. What does marriage do? Well, it says when one gets married, these are the rights and the responsibilities between the two people getting married, partners. And these are the rights and responsibilities in relation to any children, any offspring they might have. Right? So this is another type of relationship. Okay, ready? Anybody still writing? Okay. Right. Okay. Good. That's the last type of union in our notes, right? So let's pause. You're gonna take a break now, or you want to do something else? It's kind of early still. It's 12:22. If nobody says anything, we'll continue, right? So you need to say if you prefer that we take a break now. Continue. Okay. All right. We are tied. Um, let's take a break because the next thing we do will take some time, right? So I'm gonna pause the recording. We'll pause for 5 minutes. So at 12:28, we will start back. All right, so we're looking at the major functions of a family. What are the major functions of a family? Tell me. What is the family responsible for? Is it responsible for anything at all? Or does it just exist because people feel like it? Support, good. Reproduction, good. Providing food, good. Right, okay, so let's get into it in detail. So we have some images to sort of, so this on the left-hand side. I'll wash, I'll dry, and I'll pick up the pieces. What does that tell us? The domestic work, right? They're responsible for the work in the house. Right? And underneath here, somebody just said taking care of children. Yeah. So you could see like the parents playing with the child, I'm not sure what the child is doing, talking on a microphone. Um, doing work in school, being taken care of, taking a bath, right? Yeah, okay. And what about the top picture on the right-hand side with these sort of dysfunctional families? What are they about? So there's the American Dad and Homer Simpson, and I forget what these two are called. All right, over here, we love our kids, our parents, our job, our dog, but not all at the same time. And they are being put into a sandwich. Is that, yeah? Yeah. Um, and since when does being 25 and married and living in Dallas excuse you from a family meeting? So then there's this one. So what are families responsible for? We have so far, right? They have to cooperate. They have to teach each other how to behave, right? Socialization, yes. Disciplining children. Okay, good. So let's get started. The first one we're going to deal with is procreation, right? So they have to reproduce. You need a family for reproduction to be successful, to produce small humans, right? Otherwise, they might produce small goblins who cannot be part of society, right? I remember that's any type of family structure available. It doesn't have to be nuclear, right? So the act of conceiving and bearing, and I should put in here raising children. Well, I have that as a separate one. Let me leave it so. Okay, so one purpose of the family is to produce children. Right? The family is supposed to create an environment, not and. Wait, create an environment, right? To teach a child, well, how to exist in society and any culture that they are born into, right? So one purpose of the family, procreation in this way. All right, ready for the next one? Okay, so the next one, rearing children. So rearing is a fancy word for raising. Right? So the family is a unit, the family is a team, and together they cooperate to grow these children up, to raise them, to socialize them. What does socialize mean? It means to teach them how to be in the society, right? All right, I'm going back for 1 second. Good. Okay, I'm going forward again, right? Right. So we said this means raising, right? And you will see the word socialize over and over in socialization, but it means teach them how to behave in society. Have you ever been somewhere in public and a child does something and you think, oh my God, that's so annoying? My kids do that all the time. I think, anyway, so like they might make noise, they might, have you ever seen a child try to bite another one? Have you ever seen a child push another one down? All of that is because they are still learning how to behave around others. They're still learning how to play nicely. If you have any younger siblings that go to preschool, you might have seen some things, heard some things, right? A family's job is to teach children how to behave in society, behave around others. That means socializing them. So a more detailed definition, family unit has to provide parents, or if it's not actual birth parents or adopted parents, caregivers who are taking care of the child, right? How are they taking care of the child? Physically. So what does physical care for a child mean? What does emotional care? What does social care? What does intellectual care mean? So physically could be hygiene. So taking care of them, bathing them. It could be food. It could be medicine, right? So take them to get their shots, give them medicine if they're sick. Emotionally, so love, discipline, maybe discipline belongs more by social. So socially, behavior, what is appropriate and what is not. What is acceptable, what is not, right? Intellectually. So we have to help kids to be smart. We have to help probably teach them the alphabet. Nursery rhymes, right? We have to put them in school, right? Kids who are not sent to school will be at a disadvantage later on when they eventually do make it to school because the government makes you send them, right? So we have all these aspects of a child to take care of and a family has to get done. All right. Parenting or caring about a child is about more than just existing and saying, well, I'm their father, I'm their mother, you know, I created them. To be a good parent, you have to be able to consider and do all of these things on the list, right? And probably more that we haven't listed here. So all of this is how we take care of a child. It's more than just keeping them alive, right? Although that is important too. One other thing is morals. Parents are supposed to teach children what is acceptable behavior, but morals, right and wrong. What is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do? Have you all ever been in a group setting? Usually students could identify with this. You're in a group setting, you have work to attend in, but somebody in the group is not doing their part. And Miss is going to penalize all of you. Or so what my teacher is. Right? Very possibly that is because their parents did not teach them, or the lesson didn't stick, even though they did teach them what is right behavior and what is wrong behavior. Right? Values and goals are other things too. related to this morals. Yes, thanks, Triana. Right? Values is right and wrong, and then goals, giving people, helping children find a goal, something they want to work towards. Right? All right, can we move to the next slide? All right, so I'm going to count to 10. And we're going to, right? Right. The next function of the family functions as an economic unit, an economic team. So your bills are my bills if we are in the same family, sort of kind of, right? So the family is a unit that has to ensure that basic, let me put in the word economic. Yeah. Your money needs, this is economist, economic, right? Financial needs. Right. So the family will either provide labor for the needs to be met, or it will provide money for the needs to be met, right? So a mother could work to buy food, right? So because the family needs to eat, so the mother works or the father works, they bring in the money, they buy food, right? That's the economic need. Or they could provide the labor. So the aunt in the extended family could cook the meal for the family while they're out. The aunt doesn't work, she stays at home, but she provides the labor to help meet the economic need, right? So the economic need is not just things that have to be bought. It's things that if the service has to be provided, like childcare, perhaps a member of the family could do it, and in that case, one wouldn't have to pay for it, right? Once it's a need that has to be fulfilled, whether you have to pay somebody to do it or you do it yourself, you could consider it as an economic need, right? All right, family is part of satisfying economic needs. So also that families need to teach children to do these things. So budget, what is a budget? A plan for spending, right? And one general concept in most budget is pay bills first, right? Another concept is save, right? Save some money in for when you need it and you don't have it coming in, right? Budgeting. Next thing, finance and credit. So the benefits, but also the dangers, loans, right? The dangers of debt. Right? How to save, very important. So how important it is, importance of saving, regularity, the importance of doing it regularly, right? All right, and then how to use technology for financial things. So this could be something like an ATM. It could also be something like a secure website, making sure the website is secure before you put in your information. It could be something like hiding your PIN, personal identification number, right? Not telling anybody your PIN. A family is supposed to teach people how to manage these things, right? Decision making is a good one too. We could put that in. Financial decision making. So what is a good purchase and what is a not so good purchase? What should you spend your money on? When should you hold on to it? Waiting for a sale because you know certain stores will always have sales. All of these things, right? People, well, it depends on where they come from, I guess, but my sister-in-law told me this story about her daughter's boyfriend when they are adults now, right? So when they started the relationship and he came into the family, he would go into Francis Fashion or what some store and always buy whatever shirt he wanted, right? So he's the shirt he wanted, he buys it. And then his future father-in-law told him, wait a minute, there are sales. You could use Francis Fashion has these cards, if you remember, that they give out that give you a discount, right? So just a basic lesson like when to spend, when to wait for a sale, the benefits of buying local versus online, um, learning to deal with not always getting exactly what you want, right? All of these things, decision making. Good. Okay. We're just gonna count to 10 and change the slide. Okay. Let us see what is our next. Right. So the family is also a social unit, right? So it has to ensure that people's emotional needs, psychological needs are met. So we kind of said that a couple slides ago, but now this is the main focus of the point, right? So families have to help us meet our need for love and belonging, our need to feel safe and secure, because we do need those things, right? If we don't feel safe, we don't feel secure, then we cannot function. We can't live nor work in school. We can't set goals because it doesn't make sense, right? We have to feel safe. And that means that personal safety, so we're not going to be injured walking on the street or even existing in our house. No one is going to hit us or demean us, right? We have to be safe financially, so we have enough money. We have to believe that we have enough money to pay bills and to survive and do what we want to, right? We have to be healthy, right? And we have to also feel like if something goes wrong, it won't be the end of the world because there will be a safety net. All of that is involved in feeling safe and feeling secure, right? All right. Our need to have healthy self-esteem. So we must feel like we are special, like we are valuable, like others value us, but also that we value ourselves, right? That we have the family, the home is a space where we are accepted and loved, not criticized, right? And then the home also gives us, so self-esteem is one thing, and then cultural identity. So things like music, pledge, anthem, history, other people, religion. Religion is probably the big one for families, right? Traditional clothing, food, all of these practices. So even like a beach day in our family is part of a Trinidadian's culture. Going for doubles as a family, part of the culture, right? Um, all of these things we learn first in the home, in our family. Whoops, sorry. Right? Now, how do these things relate to society? Because social says social is really society, right? So once we have all of these personal things that we need, right? We feel loved, we feel like we belong, we feel safe, we feel valuable, we learn about our culture, then we can fit into society without damaging the social structure. So we won't become a criminal, we will not become a dropout, we will not hurt others with our words and our actions, right? We'll be able to find a job, work as a part of a team. Oh, sorry. Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to ask? I think for most people, this is probably review, right? Right. Okay, so I know what everybody's done with this slide, right? So let's just recap what we did today so far. We talked about types of families that exist in the Caribbean. We talked about the types of unions that exist in the Caribbean. And we talked about the roles and responsibilities, the functions of the family, right? So we covered 3 of the 4 things that are in this PowerPoint that we have to do. Next week, we will start talking about, we went through unions already. We'll start talking about family law. Right? Let's take a look at this slide, which seems like a lot of writing, I know. This is a list of some of the things that have to be done in the family, right? So we need a breadwinner. We need to give advice. We need to pay bills. We need to pass on culture, religion, morals, share stories and teaching. So pass on culture, right? We need to care for the home. We need to pay for bills and groceries. We have to educate children. We have to take care of children when parents are busy at work. We have to discipline children. We have to provide shelter. We have to care for the home. We have domestic work. We have to provide for basic needs, food and clothes. We have to be role models. We have to provide emotional support. And we have to give children recreation and leisure opportunities, right? So this is just a list. So what I want you to do is pick, perhaps all might be good to write down, right? You could shorten some of them, right? So let's see. No, we still have 15 minutes. All right, we have to use that time. All right, so let's talk about, as you are writing, let's talk about who would perform these roles usually, right? So roles and responsibilities in the family, right? So I want you to note this, right? So please make a list. If you feel like something is repeated, you don't need to write it twice, right? So please note. Beyond saying what the function of the family is, these are the actual things that have to get done every day, right? So tell me, who is usually the breadwinner? Is it ever the children? Often it's the father as well as the mother, right? Okay, right. So parents, this is parents and caregivers, right? So if like the child is in a sibling household, it could be the older sibling. If the child is an extended family, perhaps it could be the grandparents, right? Pay bills, also parents and caregivers, right? Right. Oh, yeah, guardian might be a better word to use. That's a word we're more familiar with. Right. Okay. Care for the home. Who takes care of the home? Who does the sweeping, the mopping, the dusting, the putting away laundry, the washing clothes? Nobody does the putting away laundry, right? It just stays out. The ironing of shirts for school, packing of care for the home. So no, maybe not the shirts. Yeah, who does those things? Everybody, good. So parents, guardians, so that could be auntie, uncle, right? And children, right? It's important to know what children can contribute in the home. Okay, educate the children. Parents. I'm gonna add here grandparents too, but it's the same as saying guardians and children, right? But grandparents teach morals, teach values, auntie and uncle as well, right? I discipline the children, usually the parents and the guardians, right? Care for the home, we already have that, so that's twice, don't need that again. Provide for basic needs, example, food and clothes. This is like the breadwinner, right? So parents, mostly, guardians, mostly, right? And aunties and grandparents might contribute. Right? All right. Emotional support for who? It depends, right? So parents for children, maybe. Parents and guardians for children. I'm gonna write kids just because it's shorter, right? But grandparents, aunts, uncles for parents, right? Yes, whomever the child feels comfortable with, they could go to. So if they feel comfortable with an auntie or uncle, they could go to them, right? For parents, it's important to note that it's not children who provide emotional support for parents, right? They would get that from grandparents or from aunts and uncles, their sisters and brothers. Giving advice, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, right? Okay, passing on culture, religion, morals, sharing stories and teachings. I think that this is seen as more of a grandparent's role, right? But also parents could do it. And also aunts and uncles, right? Okay, bills and groceries. This is like paying the bills so already. So I'll just take this out, right? Taking care of children when parents are busy at work. This is grandparents. As well as aunts and uncles, right? Providing shelter, sharing a home or providing land or a house. This could be grandparents. Oh yes, older sibling here too. Right. Right. All right. So grandparents usually might provide the land or the house, but then also parents and aunts and uncles, right? Domestic work. What about that? That's cleaning and sweeping again. So this is everybody. Being role models to children. This is parents and guardians, right? Guardians could include grandparents and aunts and uncles. It's just for some points, I specifically want you to remember grandparents. So I wrote down grandparents, right? Recreation and leisure for children. So this is everybody but the child, right? So parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, maybe even older siblings. Right? So sometimes in the paper too, you could get questions like, what are two things the child might be responsible for? Who is responsible for paying bills or what have you? So you have a list of things to choose from, right? I'm giving you 2 minutes to write and then I'm going to check in. All right, so we're going to wrap up here. It's the last thing we're doing today. If anybody is still writing, I will leave the screen up, right? Next week, we're starting with family law. Homework this week is just to review everything we've done. And from next week, I'll give you a worksheet. It will be posted on the website, right? All right, everybody, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm still here if anybody has questions.